Tryout administrators have access to our very powerful Tryout Management tool. In this scenario, this administrator has access to 2 tryouts that are currently in progress. They also have the ability to print out a PDF for manual scoring should they be in a scenario where they don't have wireless or Wi-Fi where the evaluation is actually taking place. To do that, they would just click on the print PDF for manual scoring and it would pop up a list of all of the participants, all of the questions, and everything related to the evaluation or tryout. But let's get into the tryout itself. Let's select the varsity boys hockey tryout. There's a lot of functionality within this page, so let's take a minute to look at the data that's actually here. Looking at the column headings, you can see it's similar to what you used for the registration. You can sort by any of the column headings. You can also see the round 1 scores and sort by it. So in this scenario, round 1 score and group, the first participant there got a score of 90 and he was grouped into the forwards area. Looking at the next column is round 1 evaluations completed. It's important to note that I have 3 evaluators registered for this tryout, but I also count myself as an evaluator. If I'm the administrator, I'm also an evaluator, so that's why it says 1 of 4 here. So in this scenario, 1 evaluator has completed the tryout. The next column is the score. The next column is group for the next round, and I'll come back to that, and the total score. So in this scenario, we're in round 1 right now. If there was multiple rounds, it would show up next to round 1 information. So round 2, round 3, round 4. And you can see this page grows exponentially as you add more rounds. And again, you're not limited to how many rounds you can have. Some of the other functionality on this page is the ability to add a new round and the tryout or add a group. So again, in this scenario, I've got my forwards and defense showing up on this page. The participants in blue are participants that have not been evaluated or have a score whatsoever for this tryout, and that's why they're in blue. You'll see 0 of 4 evaluations have been completed. So let's say those 5 participants were sick or couldn't make it to the tryout and I need to move on to round 2. The next step for me is to figure out, based on scores, do I want to move the participants around? Again, I have forwards and defense. If I wanted to add a group, I would just come up here and click on add group, and I would add another group. So I would call this let's call it the 3rd group. And again, you can name it whatever you want. And now I have the option to move participants around. So I'm going to move this first person into the 3rd group, second person into the 3rd group. The rest of these people I'm going to keep with forwards. I'm going to move this participant unique ID number 25 into a forward. The next person I'm going to move into defense. So depending on how you want to break up your rounds, you can do it in any way, shape, or form. You may go based on first round score. You may be going based on just moving everybody that was a forward to a defensive position, etc. There's really no limits to how you can move people around. Another thing you can do is have participants not participating. So in this scenario, I'm going to scroll down. These bottom 5, again, they didn't get scored the first round. I know they're not going to be available for the second round, so I would just move them to not participating. So this way, your evaluators don't even see them as an option to score, and so that way, when they're going through evaluations, and they're not going to see any blue lines for these kids because they're not going to be available to score. So once I'm ready, I can click Add a New Round, and it comes up with a summary. You can see a tryout has 5 participants with no score. It's just reminding you do have those 5. Basically, what happens here is if I click on Add New Round, we'll go into round 2. And your evaluators and participants will receive an email. The evaluators will receive an email that says the second round is available for them to score. The participants will receive an email saying your first round scores are out there ready for you to view. And that's what the administrative tool does. One other thing I'd like to point out is the ability to export to Excel. So regardless of how many rounds you have or where you're at within the process of the tryout, you click on Export to Excel, and it pulls up an Excel spreadsheet. And you'll be able to dissect the information as you see fit. And you may find that easier to dissect it in Excel and then come back and move kids around to whatever group you'd like to for the next round. So that's the administrative tool.